is about data. Okay, so we spoke so much about statistics, we spoke so much about probability, the types of probability and statistics and so much. That is fine. Okay, but the basic underlying most important factor of all this is data. If your data is fine, if it is good, consistent with very less number or no uncertainties, it's the best, so that your probability or your predictions will be good. If there is some uncertainty or there is no consistency in the data, then obviously your probability or your predictions are going to be less fruitful. But still, let us see what this data means. So data, it constitutes the foundation on which statistical analysis is based. So as I said, right, the most important part is data. Okay, but data is shown in what form? It is our facts. These are the facts, because numbers, they never lie. Okay, and data is always are. Data is never is. Always remember, it is always are, plural. Okay, facts, figures, it can be in terms of figures, narrations of past or present serving as basis of study and analysis. Past experiences, past data, present data, okay, which is used for study and analysis. They are raw material for analysis. I hope everybody will appreciate this. Okay, and provide the basis for testing of hypothesis, developing scales, tables. So many things you can do when you have a single data with you. Okay, but what is important is systematic record of a particular quantity. Systematic record. If you are recording the temperature of a particular place for say 24 hours, then you have to check it at every 1 hour. You just cannot skip in between, okay, and just fill in the blanks. You just can't do that, because if you do that, it means that there is uncertainty in the data, which will lead you to wrong calculations. Okay, and it is different values of the same quantity represented together in a set. Different values of the same quantity represent together in a set. So different temperatures in the each hour of a day, or rainfall for all the days in a month. Okay, utmost care must be taken towards collection of data. So this is the basic, the data. Okay, now this data, you are going to use it to convert it into information which you are going to use it now. Okay, because just simply having a temperature data for last 10 years or 20 years, what are you going to do with that? You need to analyze that, to convert it into information so that you can use it. How will you use it? Information, data has been recorded, classified, organized, related or interpreted within a framework so that the meaning emerges from it. Manje, say for example, you have a data of say temperature for the last say 10 years. Every say monthly data you have, just so much amount of data. But what will you do with this data? You will analyze that data. So what you will do, you will calculate the average data. I'm just giving you an example. Average temperature for each year or each month in a year. You will calculate that. Okay, so like this, every month, that is 12 into 10, because you are saying 10 years. So much amount of data is available with you. Now for how will you use this, or how will you convert this into information out of so much data? You will see what is the average temperature of say January for each of the years. So first year, second year, third year, fourth year, so on and so on. Similar for say February, March, April. And you'll understand that in January, from the last 10 years, there is an increasing trend in the temperature. Say for example. Okay, in February, there is a decreasing trend. Okay, March, there is again an increasing trend. So you will be able to help this. Now this is what is information, that there is an increasing trend, decreasing trend. Okay, now this you are going to use it further to explain, okay, that why temperature is increasing this year and what care you have to take. Okay, so for an example, I gave you one example from civil engineering. Let us see this example. Data collected on the weight of 20 individuals in your classroom. So 20 students in your classroom. Okay, data is 20 kg, 25 kg, the weights have been. So what is the 5 individuals in 20 to 25 kg range? Okay, out of which say 15 individuals are between the range of say 26 to 30. So what are you doing? You are actually trying to convert this data into a series of information in the form of a range. Okay, and so within each range you are calculating the mean weight. Okay, now this mean weight will be more relevant over here because the range you're defining the range, and so this will be helpful. Okay, now this particular concept is specially used in bookings which is done in trains. Okay, because I hope you people have you must be learning MOS as well as you know what is applied mechanics. You know what is center of gravity. Okay, to keep that center of gravity intact for a moving object, moving body like a train, you know, you have to have at least equally distributed load between both the parts of the train. And so even if you are, if you really see the booking trend, okay, on the other side you have only one berth below, one berth above, that's it. While on the other side, that is on the on the other side you'll have 3 berths and 3 people can sit at a time. Well, on the other side only 1 or 2 people can sit at a time. Is it not? So this is because of the center of gravity and mechanics. Now here mean will be important, and how to take care of this mean? It is the booking. So even if on the other side where 3 people can sit together, okay, even if that is empty, but they will not give you booking over there. They will give you on the other side. It is to keep the center of gravity. Okay. So what is data and information? Now with this so much of example, let us go very fast. Data is in organized and unrefined facts. It just gives you numbers. Okay, we have to convert it into information the way we want it. Okay, so information compromises proceed organized data presented in meaningful context. In a meaningful context. Now, you can say if I'm taking you for an outing or for a lunch, say for example. Okay, now if I know that what is the weight of 25 people, 25 students in the class, and I'm taking you out for lunch. So what I will say, okay, now for me average weight is of no use. For me what is important, that in 20 to 25 kg range, how many students are there? And of 30 to 35 kg range, how many students are there? So that if there are say 10 students here and 20 students here, accordingly I can order the food. It's quite simple, right? That there is always a connection between your weight and the consumption of food. Right? So I can use that. For me, average will probably not help me out here, but the range will help me. Okay? So, meaningful context. Data is an individual unit that contains raw materials which do not carry any specific meaning. So, it is only numbers or facts, that's it. Okay, logical meaning will be given by information. Okay. Data doesn't depend on information, it's quite obvious, but information depends on data, and so data has to be very, very careful. As you people know, in the initial phases, first session itself, I had told you that I work a lot in AI, artificial intelligence. We work in data-driven techniques a lot. Now, if I am working in data-driven techniques, I have to be very careful on that data. I have to study that data. We spend around first 4 or 5 months only studying the data. And then we go in for the techniques. Okay? Now, data measured in bits and bytes, well, this I won't agree totally because this will depend upon what you are actually calculating for. Okay, and information is in meaningful terms like time, quantity, etc. Raw data is insufficient for decision making, quite obvious, because unless you convert it into information. So information is required for decision. Okay, and I won't say totally again sufficient also, but it's required. An example, we give so many examples. So this is what is the differentiation between data and information. Okay, going on. Types of data, primary and secondary data. Now what is primary data? Which we people are mostly interested in, the data which is collected afresh and for the first time and is very, very original. Okay, म्हणजे census जे घेतले जातात. Okay, or the testing which we do of concrete or any other things on the site itself, fresh data. Okay? So experimental data or survey data, that is what is primary data. We are most interested in this as engineers. But sometimes this is not available. Okay, so you have to get data from say panel study reports, log data from literature review, data from papers, data from magazines, etc. That is called as secondary data, which you have not collected it originally. Okay, and you collect it from published or unpublished sources. Sometimes you have to do this because you don't get access to original data. Okay, so that is what is some types of data. Now, what are advantages of secondary data? Secondary data means not afresh. Okay, they are readily available and you can use it for effective analysis of decision making. Now you would say, Arey, you said that primary data is at most important. Yes, but sometimes it's inaccessible. Like going to a dam site and recording the discharge. It is highly impossible for us. So we rely on the data, secondary data, which is provided by Waterworks department. Secondary data. Okay. Quicker to obtain from primary data, obviously, because it happens very fast. And secondary data will be available on data types where collection of data is difficult. You have to rely on whatever is available. You cannot question that. And that is what is its major limitations. Okay, that difficult to find data which adheres to the requirement of a problem. तुम्हाला discharge आहे, okay, and you want the temperature data also, say for example, of that particular day at that particular location. This is a little difficult because they don't generally measure temperature. They only measure discharge. Okay, finding data which is sufficiently accurate is difficult because if you miss some amount of data, then it is difficult. Okay. Then primary data. Now I told you so much. A collection of rainfall. You can actually, there's a small equipment which you can make it in your house itself and you can measure how much actually it was raining on a particular day. Now if you do that in your own houses, that's a primary data, collection of rainfall, which is done on a professional basis in IMD, Indian Meteorological Department. Okay. Anything originally which you have collected, if you go door to door and you do some survey, primary data. Okay, so these are what are primary data. And what are secondary data? Secondary data like the census data. So in census itself, you know, people will be, after every 5 years, people will be coming to your house. And 1 second. Maushi jara daar ugda. हाँ कोणतरी आलं वाटतं. And they will ask you about the number of people residing in your house. How many of them have laptops and how many of them have this and that and. Just a minute, guys. कौन अपन?
ब्लड कैसे ना फुल करनी.
हाँ. ए संतोष.
बाहर इतने काफी है.
एक मिनट. Students, just 1 second. I'll just be back. Santosh. Sorry. Okay. So, census data itself. So, people will be coming to your house and they will ask you about how many people are residing in your house, how many are females, how many are males, what is their age group, and how many people use laptops and gadgets and this and that. Now, that is what is primary data. Those people, they come to your houses and ask you. But what is secondary data? Now they will tell you that out of so many X amount of people residing in India, okay, AX are females, okay, BX are males, means number, okay, some number, okay. Then the youth, that is between, say, what they call it as 15 to 20 or 25, 30, whatever it is, okay, they are so many. Now this is what is secondary data, analyzed data which you can use it again. This is information, this is also secondary data which you can use it further. Okay. Then choice between primary and secondary data, it depends upon a lot of stuff. Like as I said, the census data, you can take the secondary data because you cannot go house to house and ask them. Okay. If there was some surveys which were done about the amount of fatigue which construction workers face on the site in Pune. Now, this was what was our topic of one of the BE project. Now, fatigue was measured in terms of some few activities, and we cannot go to all the construction sites. Na? So, only few were taken care of. Okay, while the others, secondary data was taken. But here, the major survey for few samples was done using primary. Okay. Now, there are a lot of things which drive this: nature and scope of inquiry, availability of financial resources, time, and degree of accuracy required. We all require larger accuracy, but sometimes if it's less accurate, still it will work out. Okay, in situations where the data is like that. Okay, so who can do this? Collection agencies also do now. Social media has lot of forms, you can make some forms also, you can circulate it because technically everybody has an email. Okay, so these help us in collection of data. Okay. Primary data generally used in those cases where secondary data do not provide an adequate basis of analysis. Okay. And in certain cases, both primary and secondary data can be. Like we wrote a paper actually on predicting of compressive strength using AI. Now in this, we took help of primary as well as secondary data because the designing of concrete mix using some other codes was not the scope of my work. So I did using IS code, so that was my primary data that I considered. But other codes, I considered it from papers, from my friends, etc. Okay. So now, editing of primary and secondary data, you need to read the data. If you can recall, I said that you need to really, we actually spent 4 months, 5 months in just reading that data, the basics of data, because we need to detect the possible errors and irregularities in the data, which require special attention. Work of editing data from internal records and published sources is relatively simple because it's already ready made and they give it to you. But when it is raw data, it requires extensive editing. आपण पुढे पण बघूया काही data sets. Okay. So while editing the primary data, you have to see that data is complete, consistent, accurate, and homogeneous. Okay. Now, population and sample. Population, which is each and every member from the whole lot. So in India, all the people residing in India is population. And if we take only, say, 10 people from each of the district for some analysis, This is called as a sample. Okay, but you have to see to it that you take it from all the districts. Okay, then again exit poll, opinion poll. You are not going to ask each and every person in the district or in the nation that to whom are you going to give the vote or what is your guess, etc. You're just going to ask some few of them. Okay, so exit poll or opinion. So some more information on population and sample. Sample depends upon the population, not vice versa. Okay, and sample is a subset of population. Very, very careful subset. We are going to see sampling design also. Okay, now population reports are true representation because you take everything into consideration, everybody into consideration. But in sample, yes, the margin of error can be there. You may pick up a wrong person also to ask something. Okay, and so the confidence interval has to be decided on. Generally, the confidence interval is 95%. Generally. Okay, population contains all the members and sample contain only few of them. Okay, now the most important is now relating to the databases. Now, if you people recall that right from the beginning, I am being talking that, or I'm being saying that we want you people to understand civil engineering, understand statistics and probability from civil engineering perspective. But the question comes, if I want you people to do that, then I should make you aware about the database which is available in civil engineering. Okay, whether it is primary data or secondary data, well, that we will see as we go. So what we have done is we have picked up some primary and secondary data, okay, from civil engineering itself. Okay, and these are readily available on websites. Some of the data is our own, which we will also show, which will also give you when we go ahead. Okay, so now this specific data, which you can see, this specific data is of mixed design, okay, for concrete strength. Okay, and this is downloaded from kaggle.com. Kaggle.com is a very, very good site. You will get lot of data there related to any branch. You can just take this down as well. Okay, now you people, can somebody tell me, now this table which I have taken, this is just few of them. Okay, now this data contains cement in kg per meter cube. Okay, now see the quantities. This is 388, 531, 425, 318. So different types of different volume or different volume of data of cement is available. So is for blast furnace slab in kg per meter cube again. Okay, so 97.1 is present here. In the second mixed design, it is 0. In the third, it is some value. Similarly, for water, super plasticizer, coarse aggregate. Okay, and with this mix, okay, for 91 days of curing, the strength is this much in MPa, Newton per mm square. Okay, similarly for this particular mix with cement, blast furnace, water, super plasticizer, aggregates, and the age of 91, the strength is this much. For the third one, it is this much. For 7 days, the strength is this much. So on and so forth. That's how it goes. This is one of the data. Now you people tell me, I have downloaded this data from kaggle.com. Now is it primary data or secondary data? Can somebody tell me?
Secondary.
It is secondary data. Why it is secondary data? Because I have not done the experimentation. I have collected it from somewhere. So it is secondary data. If I would have done the experimentation myself, then this would have been primary data. I hope you people agree with this. Now this is about, any question? Okay, so this is about concrete, one data set. Now just check out this particular data. Okay, Now, this is again downloaded from data.gov.in, a very, very authentic website, okay, run by the government of India, and it gives enormous amount of data related to discharge, temperature, annual temperatures, mean temperatures, hourly temperatures, hourly discharges, stage levels, etc. for I don't know how many districts and how many cities. There is lot of amount of data which is available. Okay, Bob, because this is run by IMD, Indian Meteorological Department. Okay, so I've purposely shown it over here. It gives you all the data. Now this is, now just see here, this is monthly mean temperature. Now just check out what it is saying. Monthly mean temperature. Monthly mean म्हणजे काय केलंय यांनी? This is one sort of information which is given to. Okay, monthly mean म्हणजे काय? तर for each month, each day of the month, some temperature is calculated. Okay, so on the first, some is calculated. On second, something is measured. Third, something is measured. And when it happens to 30th, then a mean is calculated of all this. And that is one value. Okay, now this is annual one. This is annual means yearly. This is for Jan to Feb. This is from March to April. This is from October to December. 3 months. Okay, like this. Now this is just some extract of it. Okay. Now for so many years of data, so much amount of data is available. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you can also get this data for further analysis. Okay. Now this is temperature. So it is in degrees Celsius. It can be discharged. It will be in volume. Q6. So on and so on. Okay. So you can go through this also. We are going to use this databases in SCE as well and in your tutorials. Okay. इथे फक्त थोडंसं दाखवलंय. Okay. Now annually, if you see, how are we going to see आता annually बघा बरं 1901 24.23, 1902 24, 23, 23. Okay, almost from 1901 to 1919, 23, 24 is the range of your temperature. Not much of deviation. Okay, but when you go to 2017, you can see quite a change in the temperature. Okay, fine. Then just check out with this. This is air quality data. Okay, again, this is taken from odisha.data.gov.in, an authentic website which gives you the air quality data for Odisha. So it is Odisha government. Okay, now just see here. Station code, you remember I told you station code also? It was with reference to discharge. Now this will be with reference to air quality. Okay, Pune एरियाचा जर air quality करायचा असेल, so you cannot put on each of every 1 kilometer or each of every 1 meter, you cannot keep a equipment which is going to have that measure the air quality. You can't do that. You have to do it at certain intervals. So that certain intervals is station code. They give it in numbers. The date, the state, the village, town. Now this is for one particular village. Location, which is the location. Who is doing this? Because हे जर कोणीतरी XYZ नी केला असता तर I would have said don't use this data for further analysis. Okay, authentic. Okay, type of location. This is required for air quality because industrial area म्हणजे air pollution जास्त असणार. SO2, NO2, RSPM. Okay, 10. Then PM 10, PM particulate matter 10 mm, particulate matter 2.5 mm. Okay, now these are going to be high in industrial area. Correct. Now this is one, just some extract of data which we are showing. Like this, you will have data for all the villages, for all the cities. Okay, which we can use. So just some, you can take a screenshot of this if you want, or this PPT anyways we are going to provide you. Okay, you can just click on this and you can download the data as well. Okay. So water resource data, Indian groundwater resource, how much groundwater is there now? In Chennai, there is absolutely no groundwater which is available. From where you get this data? Wave data, how much is the height of the waves? Okay, now the sea surface temperatures, then geological data. Okay, so these are some websites from which you can get this data. Okay, so with this, let us wrap up with this session stating that data can be primary or secondary, and the choice basically depends on what? The choice depends on whether you want to go in for a primary data or a secondary. Okay, and data sets can be related to your civil engineering, which can be seen on various sites. So you can take a screenshot, you can go through this data.